So hi guys, thank you for joining me for my first free Friday flow. So we had lots of requests and hips was the most popular. So today's short 15 minutes we're going to look at opening, mobilising through the hips. We're going to do a little bit of a warm up on the floor, come to some standing and then come back down to the seated poses to open up the hips. And then we'll end on a couple of moments of relaxation. So if you just want to make sure you've got a mat with you and you've got some space to move in, and then we'll get started. So we're going to start with the feet hip width apart and the feet grounding in towards the floor and pulling the shoulders away from the ears, and just spend a few moments to get settled onto your mat, maybe closing through the eyes. And then just take a moment to focus on your breath and arrive on your mat. Taking a deep inhale through the nose and a sigh out through the mouth. And one more deep breath in, exhaling, sighing out through the mouth. So just noticing sensations between the mat and the body. So those contact points where the weight is placed onto the floor. And then just take a few moments to observe the hips. So you'll notice you've got this space between the lower back and the mat. So what we want to do is just make sure that we're closing that space and just pulling up through the pelvic floor and lifting the hip bones up towards the ceiling. So this idea that we're grounding through the lower back. We're going to take a breath here, and on the exhale we're going to come into a very gentle, very easy bridge pose. So almost halfway. Exhaling down, coming back to allow your pelvis to just be neutral, and we're going to inhale coming up into coil pose, head to knee. Exhale down, inhaling, lift up. So every time we're lifting up, we're getting a little bit higher through the hips, stretching out through the front of the hip flexors. Exhale down, inhale into coil pose, head to knee. Good, just do a couple more in your own breath, in your own time. Good. Good. On the next lift up, we're going to take the arms up and overhead. So we're stretching all the way through the front of the body, lengthening through the hips, through the thighs. Take a breath here. Exhale all the way down and lower. Good. One more time. Lowering one vertebrae at a time, taking the knees in towards the chest, and then we're going to circle the knees in opposite directions. So just opening through our groin, through the inner thighs, the hips, going one way and going the other. Good. Placing the feet back down onto the mat. You're going to draw the right knee in towards you and extend the left leg all the way along the floor. Just make sure you've got enough room for your feet. Inhaling the left arm up and over. So we're lengthening all the way through the left side of the body. Good. Take a breath here. Exhaling the hand all the way back down, drawing the knee in towards you, open it out to the right side. Exhale, inhale back to center and then come across. Good. And again, squeezing in and open. And coming across the body. Good, one last time. Good, so just start to notice where you're feeling that resistance, maybe that tightness. And then we're going to circle through the hip socket. Going one way and going another. So this should feel really nice if you've been sitting at a desk for long periods of time, or perhaps even in the car. Bringing the feet back to neutral, just allow the lower back the hips to settle. And then when you're ready, you're going to draw the left knee in towards you. And then extend that right leg down. Inhaling the arm up and overhead, create that length all the way through the right side of the body. Take a few breaths here, opening through the rib cage and deep belly breaths. So belly breathing helps to release any tension that you're holding through the psoas muscle, which wraps all the way through the lower back and to the front of the body. So this is a really important muscle to lengthen. Good, exhale the hand all the way down, squeezing the knee in and open to the left and coming across. Good, one more time. Open and come across the body. Good, bringing the legs back to center and just return back to our knee circles. Good, and then dropping the feet about as wide as your mat and take your arms out to the side. We're going to just rotate through the feet and we're going to take the legs over to the right side, lengthening through the left. So you'll feel that stretch all the way down the left front of the hip through the thigh. Take some deep breaths here. Just allow yourself to settle into this stretch. Good, inhale back to center and over to the other side. And again, you might have one hip that's slightly tighter than the other, and that's absolutely fine. Take a breath in. Good, inhale all the way back up and over to the other side. And if you want a slightly deeper stretch here, you can hook your foot on top of your thigh, create a little pressure there, and starting to work that knee down a little bit more. And these are stretches that you can do in any order or sequence whenever you feel like you just need to open up through your hips, and particularly the front of the hips. So it's really, really important if you've got any lower back pain or any hamstring tightness to make sure you're opening up your hips as well. Good, and carefully release. Drawing the knees back in towards you, and we're just going to rock from side to side. Good, and then rolling up however you like, so rolling over to your right side and coming up to our tabletop pose, or maybe taking the legs behind you and rolling full length spine into our tabletop pose. So taking the hands directly underneath the shoulders. And then we're going to take a couple of inhales, so the wind's blowing my mat away. Inhale, looking up, lift the gaze. Exhale, round the shoulders, chin to chest. So this is working through mobilising the spine, but this is the great pose. I don't feel like I could go a day without doing any cat-cows, so make sure these are in your routine, particularly if you're looking at your phone quite a lot or sat at a desk. Good, coming back to neutral, we're going to take our right leg all the way back, and we're going to open the knee out to the right elbow and then take it all the way back, lift it up and open it out to the left side. Good, and back to centre, out to the right, take it all the way out and then open out to the left side. So this is not only strengthening through the hip flexors, but we get a nice stretch when we open this leg out to the left side. So doing that 3 times, and then just rock the hips from side to side, maybe spiral. Good, all the way back to centre. Good, taking the left leg all the way out, over to the left elbow, and back, lifting up. Good. So you'll feel this in your core. It's a really nice strengthening exercise. Good, last one. Coming back to centre, maybe just rock from side to side. And then taking our toes to touch, we're going to come back into swan pose. Take the knees wide so you've got space for the body to sink down.
lengthening the arms forward, creating a bit of space through the back, through the armpits and the side of the body. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Good, lifting the body all the way back up and coming back to center. We're going to tuck the toes, come up into downward dog, but we're going to pad out through the heels, so just mobilizing through our ankles, stretching our calves and our hamstrings. Good, drop down to kneeling and then come back into swan pose. See if you can create a little bit more space with the hips, so maybe opening the knees a little bit wider. Inhale, lift up, tuck the toes, downward dog. Good. So we're going to come into our sort of flow sequence now. So taking the breath in, inhale the right leg all the way up and open the leg out to the left side. Good. If this is too much for you, you can just keep the leg lifted here, maybe just stay in downward dog, whichever variation works for you today. Good. Drawing the knee back down and stepping it through in between the hands or placing the leg through to frame the foot. Inhale, coming into crescent lunge. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, taking the arm down to the right side and left arm lengthens. Good, again you might want a brick or something to support you on this right side. Good, inhale, exhale over to the other side, left hand down, right arm over. Good, and again. Good, hands frame the foot, coming back into our hamstring stretch. So a couple of dynamic stretches here. And then we're going to come into holding the stretch, bringing the body just up slightly. Again, you can use a brick or a support here. We're going to inhale the left arm all the way back, exhale forward. So a couple of arm circles here. So not only we're stretching through, opening through the chest, but just give your hips a little bit of space to move however they like. Good, coming forward, we're going to step into our wide leg forward fold. Good. So feet are turning in slightly and head is released down to the floor. And then we're going to bend through this right knee and the left. So this pose that I think I made up a name for, which is called Ride the Wave. But you're just opening through the hips. And then when you're next over to the left, you're going to hold here and turn the toes up of the right foot towards the ceiling. Maybe start to sink down. Hold for a couple of breaths. Inhale over to the other side. Exhale, come down. Opening the toes up towards the ceiling and maybe sinking the head down. Good. Back to our forward fold. Coming over to the other side of the mat, stepping back into downward dog and take a couple of breaths here. When you're ready, inhale the left leg up, exhale over to the right side. Again, stay with the variation that works for you. This is going to give you a deeper hip stretch. Good, exhale, step or place the foot in between the hands, dropping the knee down. Good, just check the alignment of your knees over your ankle and not over your toes. Inhale, lift up. Good, really create that space, lift up through the rib cage, drawing in the pelvic floor and the core. Exhale over to the left, lengthening the arm over to the right. Good. Good, back through to center, coming into our hamstring stretch. So working into this dynamically, really creating that space into that right hip. And then we're going to hold the stretch. Lift the body up just slightly. Again, you can use your brick here. Inhale the arm forward. Exhale all the way back. A couple of arm circles, just allowing the hips to be free, to move however they like.
Good, coming forward and stepping into our wide leg forward fold. Head nice and heavy. And then we're going to ride the wave. Good, holding the stretch here, toes up towards the ceiling. Allow the body to sink down. If you can't sink back into this heel, that's absolutely fine. Just find that stretch and just hold it. Use your hands as a bit of support. Exhale over to the left. So this is a really good stretch for the Achilles as well. So if your Achilles are quite tight, maybe just rocking onto the ball of the foot just to give that Achilles a little bit of a stretch. Good, coming back to center, we're going to come all the way around, step back into downward dog. Take a breath. Right knee to right wrist, we're going to come into pigeon pose. So your left leg's going to lengthen all the way down. So depending on how flexible you are in the hips, then this leg is going to move depending on your flexibility. So the further it is towards your body, the easier the stretch will be. Just be careful of the knee, that you're not pulling onto your kneecap. We're going to lift up through the tailbone. Make sure this left hip is pointing down. Exhaling, coming all the way down to the point where you feel is your maximum, so maybe here, or maybe you can fully extend all the way down. Good, hold here. So you should feel this on the outer hip, into the top of the glutes, so in the piriformis muscle. Just allow the breath, the exhalation, to allow you to sink a little bit deeper. Good. Carefully coming all the way back up. Stepping back into downward dog and just padding through the feet. Good. Inhaling, draw the left knee to the left wrist. Lengthening this right leg all the way back and setting yourself up for pigeon pose on the other side. So maybe rocking from side to side here. So it doesn't really matter where your arms are or where they are for support, just as long as you can feel that stretch onto that outer hip. And then we're sinking down, maybe. Good. Hold here. Don't forget to breathe. So the more tension that you create through the jaw, through the mouth, the harder this stretch is going to be. So just breathing through it. Good. Carefully coming up. Again, you can hold these stretches for as long as you'd like. Exhale down into downward dog. And then we're going to come down to kneeling, swing the body around and place the soles of the feet together, coming into our bound pose. So taking the hands around the feet and then just rocking the hips from side to side. And then with this pose, you really want to be creating a little bit of pressure on the inside of the legs. So maybe drawing the elbows into the creases between the calf and the thigh. And then coming forward into our bound pose. Maybe walking the hands forward, holding here. Just making sure that head is nice and heavy, no tension through the back of the neck. Carefully coming up, and again you can do that pose again after the video's finished, but this time you take the legs all the way out, cross over the right leg, so you maybe want to stay with the left leg extended, or if you can, wrap the legs all the way around, and you want to be aiming to join the knees up together. Don't worry if they're not quite there yet, but just make sure you're sitting equally on the sit bones. Good. We're going to inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, come into the twist. Right hand down, left hand hooking onto the outside of the thigh. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. 2 more. hands back down to centre and then unwrapping the legs all the way. Give them a little shake. Left leg over the right this time. Maybe keep the leg extended or wrapping round. So you should feel this onto the outer hip muscles here, so into the flexors. So if this is really, really uncomfortable, just create a little bit more space for the feet. Just be a little bit more kind to the hips. Then when you're ready, you're going to take the arms all the way up. Inhale, exhale, left hand down, right hand twist. Hands come to centre, drawing the hands down towards the chest and carefully unwrapping the legs. And then we're going to roll back onto our backs, taking the feet hip width apart, just allowing the back to settle, maybe just rock side to side, maybe some twists, whatever feels right for you. And then we're going to place the soles of the feet together so the hips drop out to the side. And then take the hands, allow them to rest on the belly. Taking a deep inhale. Exhale, sighing out through the mouth. And one more deep breath in. And just focus on this belly breathing, just allowing the exhalation to soften through the hips, the front of the body. And we're going to stay here for a few moments, just allowing everything to settle. While you're in this pose, just take a moment to notice how the hips are feeling. So I'm just going to come out of this stretch. You guys can hold that position or come back down into your Shavasana pose, into corpse pose, where you take the legs out in front of you if that's comfortable, or maybe bending the knees, just have a softer approach through the lower back. And then when you're settled, you're just going to take a deep inhale and sigh out through the mouth. Good. One more deep breath in, exhaling out through the mouth. Good. Drawing the knees in towards the chest on the inhalation. And on the exhalation, rolling over to the right side. And just stay here for a few moments. And carefully coming up to a seated position, so either a cross-legged position or on your knees, whichever works best for you. And then when you're settled, you're going to take a deep breath in, exhaling down through the midline. And namaste. Thank you for practicing with me this Friday, and hopefully we will see you on the mat next week for a new focus. I've had lots of requests for lower back, so maybe you'll get some lower back stuff next week.